Dumela, Sao Sakpase, Namaste, Upshin, Dubra Ota, Assalamu alaikum. Buenas noches, bonsoir. What's going on? Greetings, everyone. Real Anez Larrier of Larry's Education and Resource Network, where I plan seeds to help you grow. It's season 2, episode 41. Season 2, episode 41. We are back in the box. I'm so excited to greet you this evening and share with you. I have a confession, a little something that I do very often. When I start talking about it, you'd be like, Dorel, how in the world do you do that? But once you understand the type of stuff that I don't do very often, then you'll understand why this is really, really special. So over the past weeks/months, I have been delving into a book. And that book and the author I want to share with you tonight. And so please, author of this book, and that is Brother H. Putney.
Good evening. How are you?
Greetings. I'm so excited to have you here. Welcome to the Dorel Larrier. It's so amazing to have you on this platform.
Thank you so much. I'm wonderful to be here with you this evening. I know you're getting ready for a holiday and your busy season. And I thank you for taking some time out to give us the opportunity.
Wonderful, wonderful. So let me have a little time. I do not read books. That is confession. I'm here to say it on public platform. I do not read books. Now, let me tell you why I do not read books. Some of you know I am in the field of education. So when I said in the beginning, there are certain things I do because I do a little bit of it. A person in education, I have to, for my work, a lot of books. I have to read a lot of books, articles, journals, trade texts, research. And so I read early for work. When I am doing research for a show or to delve into something from my business, I read professional texts a lot. What I do, and this is part of the conversation, I have not read a book necessarily for pleasure. Ooh, boy, it's going to be a while. I would almost have to say maybe 10 to 15 years. Just because, again, I have to read all the time for work and for what I do. And I also have to say, yes, I do read my Bible, but that's a little different. When the brother here said, oh, I wrote this book. So the other disclaimer is I may not necessarily read for pleasure or for but I will watch a documentary in a minute. It could be 2 hours for a documentary. And I'll also listen to what we now know as podcasts, but I love because I need to see people's faces. So I'll get into that. But actually picking up a text like this. So when the brother said, hey, Dorel, I just wrote this book, I was like, oh, okay, great. I was like, oh, interesting. Pathways to Love. And we'll talk about that today. And then he got the book and I looked at it and I was like, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. So I said, okay, I'll tell me. And this is the conversation. This book, we're going to talk about why you got into this, why it was like such a flow of the story behind it. Tell me how you got started on because now those of you who don't know, I've actually known this brother here all my life, literally all my life. If you want to share how we met and how we know each other, please. But I've literally known him all my life. So it never occurred that I would actually see him as a creator. Yes. Creative, most definitely. Yes. Writing a book, didn't think about it. So tell us how you got started, tell us where it came from, and then let's delve into the who, the what, and they did that. Let's go.
It's pretty interesting. As a young man, I always wanted to write a book, and always knew that I would write a book in line. But being busy, we know each other. Let's go back here. This is my little sister, guys. Okay, we grew up together in the same church. Okay, so we're very close. Now, in the church, I had a lot of friends, such as Doriel and others, and we became very close, and we've done a lot of things together. Most people know me for my music. Okay, I'm a musician, choir director, minister of music, and I've done that for over 50 years. Okay, and it was about 3 years ago. I got a message, so to speak, from on high that said, I have something else for you to do. But I was very comfortable in what I was doing already, and I continued to do it. Well, of course, when you don't listen to what the Holy Spirit has to give you sometimes, you kind of get smacked across the wrist or something. And one night I asked, I said, well, what's going on? I'm doing everything that I've always been taught. And it said, because I have something else for you to do. So I got myself situated. I moved to Virginia. And once I got myself organized, I'm sitting right exactly where I was sitting when I asked this question. Okay, now what? And the book dropped into my spirit. That's how I got started. And it's like
Pathways to Love. So now let's just unpack this.
Okay.
So when I asked about this text, Pathways to Love, and we're going to talk about, I don't know if you want me, I'll read a little page or something like that. But when you said, well, this is a lot. How does this drop into your lap? Because I said, well, how long did you write it? What was the answer?
The answer was 2.5 months.
So when he said that, I said, let me just show you. There's 445 pages. Okay. And it's not like, no, look. In my mind, that means writing nonstop, especially like from opening a pad or a journal and then going from start to finish. 2.5 months to write 4 some pages.
Well, it happened in different ways. Sort of like my music. A lot of times you'll hear a theme, and you'll go ahead on you create a theme. But sometimes you'll dream about it. Sometimes you can be walking down the street and hear a sound. So the same thing happened with the book. Sometimes I could be walking there and see something happening. Like, oh, interesting. And you can take it and manipulate it the way you want. I think the hardest thing for me to do is getting the name of the characters and trying to remember who was who.
Okay. So let's pause for the cause. So actually, that's something that I thought that was very interesting. So now, remember, I've grown up with him as kind of like a big brother. Realistically, more like an uncle. So y'all know if y'all grew up in the Black church, everybody basically was family. If you didn't necessarily, you weren't blood, right? So his children, or his oldest, is just a couple of years younger than I. So then that's my uncle. So I was thinking there are names in this text. Those of you who I went to go to, and I said, wait a minute. Sounds like so-and-so. And I would call him up. Is he so-and-so? And he's like, keep reading. And then I got a couple more pages of chapters. I was like, wait, is this so? Okay, yeah. So the whole book, I was like, oh, I know who that is. And then at some point, there were so many characters. How in the world am I going to keep track of all this? So it definitely was, there were lots and lots and lots of layers. And if I try to it a bit, just the title, Pathways, right? Pathways to Love. the road that this is my summation, my little Siskel and Ebert. The road that you think you might be taking, there could be a fork in the road, there could be a bend, there could be a pin turn, there could be a sharp cliff. You don't want those. But there are so many pathways to love, and let's say love in the phileo sense. I'm not preaching here. In the phileos or the eros sense. So once you got to the end, and it did take me a minute, I have to say, once the end, I was like, I cannot believe how that ended. It was a beautiful ending. So let's talk about character, because you have a number of characters that sort of interweave with, and share what you want about how you came up with these stories.
Okay. Specifically, maybe something specifically, because I could start from anywhere.
So, I'm going to find places that literally keep track. So those of you who know, I'm in education. And so as a teacher, I will say one thing. When you get this book, do not read before you go to bed. Bad idea. 2 reasons. Number 1, if you're reading it before you go to bed and you're kind of tired, it's make you like a little woozy, because there are a lot of layers intertwining people that keep sort of like jumping in and out, and you're going to be like, I now have a headache because I'm trying to remember who's chatting with who. Then you're going to be in the middle of the night, like waking up like, wait, I got to, because wait, no, don't do that. I have dog-eared a lot of the pages of the book. I've had a lot of pages because I was trying to, follow the stuff. Is all over. You see that orange? It's all over the book. So let's talk about, you started in the beginning with, I guess you call it the prologue. I think I'm saying that right.
Correct.
You're sort of telling the backstories of different characters and like the behind the scenes of the characters to introduce the family. It's all about family, tradition, friendship. These are the running themes, and service to others, and building community. And then that community, building the greater community and doing good for the greater community. Point.
I'm sorry. I cut off, actually. The last
okay. So I was just giving the theme of friendship, community, service. Okay. So we get into the story of a few friends. And as the brother says, he sort of modeled it after friendships that he had up, and how their individual lives intertwine in order to help each other, in order to help those around. Why did you choose to use your personal life or your personal friendships generate this story?
Well, I think you should write about something you know, personal to yourself, because you can really talk about it, and the feeling that you find in the prologue, I introduced the main characters, mother and father. All right, and they wanted to rear their son in an environment where they would be around to watch over them. Okay, in a diverse location where he would know all kinds of people, so that he would not just know one thing. Okay, and sort of like what we call home training, homeschool. He was around them all the time, watching them what they were doing. Okay, and it kind of emanated into his own body and his own mind. And in church, he was able to connect with his friends. He went into the military, he went into business. Like most of their friends, they weren't satisfied with what they could do for the community. So they decided to come together, help each other form their own business so that they could help their local community. And as they went along, their little group grew, brought in other people. Okay. And they were able to help other communities that way. I don't want to give anything away. All right. But it just continues to go. I think it was an old saying that we went around in church, and you are who you hang with. And so when you have that type of personality, people like yourself kind of cling to you. And it was at a time where your word counted. What you say really meant something. But you stood by what you said. So
right. From a Brooklyn,
they can actually trust one another as you read throughout the book.
Right. Brooklyn perspective, and specifically Flatbush, because that's where I'm from, we would say your word is bond.
Absolutely.
Your word is bond. And we definitely come from that community. So I definitely wanted to give a high five, let's say, out a very holistic and puritanical, in a good way, a puritanical vibe that runs through this. When I saw of it, right, I said, oh my goodness. The first thing I actually was, is this, and the title, Pathways to Love, I thought of was, is this going to be like a Harlequin romance or something? Which I literally never got into when I was younger. So I was thinking, well, I know the brother. I don't know if that's like what him. So that was kind of interesting. And then I started reading and I said, oh, this is, it's pure, it's honest, it's very caring. And I found that very, very intriguing, and I don't think please the best way to say it. I found it refreshing. There we go. I found it refreshing. In our current media society and full society, where this is my personal, there are so many ideas, let me just say ideas,
okay,
about how relationships can go, how friends can develop, can shift, can change, how people can change from one way of thinking into another way of thinking, and do lots of exploration. I was so excited to continue a story where I didn't have to wince, where I didn't have to go like sort of, even though it's just me reading the book, like I was like, oh my gosh, or just because that's the type of thing that I'm personally not comfortable reading about. I don't care how often people are shoving it into everyone's face or into everyone's, right? So we're raised with, be careful, little eyes, what you see and what you hear and where you go. I was very, very thankful to see a text, to a narrative of friendship, community, pure love out of friendship, and to see that grow. Very, very.
It's funny you should say that. I mean, it's funny you should say that. Before I wrote the book, something I learned in music. As a minister of music, as a director, you have to have all types of music for everyone. You might like something, I might like something, someone else might like something. So you have to put the ingredients in there so that it's everyone. That's what I tried to do with the book. And in doing that, one of the things I used to do after concert, I would kind of like survey the congregation. What song did you like? What didn't you like? What was not there that you wanted to hear? So that next time, we can. So what I did was I kind of told a small survey of people, young, seasoned people, different colors, male, female, old, whatever. Okay. And it came back. Everybody, exactly what you said. People were interested in something more pure, because we all know what happens when you close the door. There's no need to be graphic about it. And so a lot of the comments that I'm reading the book, they were very happy that was just like you said, that you put it so eloquently. They all come across the same way. Some people liked certain characters. Some people liked certain characters. Some people didn't like characters. That was interesting to me. That was because they were reading fast and they overlooked something about the person's background. And they had to go back and reread it and say, aha. Okay. So there's always a nature with this group also.
Right. So I want to jump back to something that you said, even in terms of music. Again, you're extremely creative. Again, I've grown up with you, watching you be like, watching you conduct, watching you, teach, let's say lyrics, but tonality. Not let me like get in musical trouble here. I was paying attention, but just the feeling and of a piece. In this piece, definitely was. Think musically and then think artistically. There were woven patterns that intertwined in such a way that it created beautiful harmony. That's the best way to say it. The storyline at every sort of, let's say, at every page turn, I was thinking, oh, is this where it's going to get, let's say, graphic? And at each time I was, oh, okay. And then probably like a third to halfway through the book, I said, there's no punchline. There's no punch. So when you said you have to create something like for everybody, no, you don't. Not gonna get everybody. Not everybody. Me, and I know there are plenty of authors who write in different genres. Me, I'm never going to pick up a Harlequin romance. I'm literally dating myself because that's the only thing I knew about in 3 or so decades ago. I'm not going to pick texts. Everybody's not going to write for everybody, but you're writing. It almost seemed like, oh, is this going to be a Christian text? It wasn't necessarily a text, but it did have family overtones. Definitely. It had the overtones. It had deep friendships and what friendships will do and will go in positive ways. And that is something refreshing. That is something we need more of, because all the other stuff that gets pushed into our face makes you think that that's the only thing out there, and then that's the only thing that's going to sell. You did not fall for the okie doke and say, I have to put this in order to get it to sell.
No, I believe in what I was doing. Number one, it's not necessary, and I realized that. I was talking to some friends. And they said, that's not going to sell, but it didn't matter to me. The whole thing is to read this book and to possibly change somebody's mindset about what they can do for family and for their community. I'll give you a little story. From church, there was a gentleman named Alfred White, Thelma White on Beverly Road.
Yeah. I know.
I remember as a very little boy, I was riding my bicycle. And as I was passing their house, the chain came off of my bicycle. And I didn't know what to do. He saw. He came to help me. But not only did he help me, he taught me. You need a little kit, a little repair kit on your little bicycle on the back of your seat. What you do to fix it. And as you know, there were a lot of people in the church that do those type of things. And when you grow up something like that, it becomes part of you. It becomes part of nature.
Correct.
Okay. You see something wrong. I always say this. I was worried about when I went into the military. Am I going to be able to pick up a gun and shoot someone?
Wow.
Training does pop in, and you will, because your mind is manipulated to such. Because if you don't, it's either the enemy or you. And it's the same thing with heroes. Like this gentleman was in the military recently in Colorado Springs, where they had to shoot out in the club. Anyway, he went and tackled the guy. You're either going to do it, or you're not going to do it. He said, I didn't think about it. Because as you know, nobody was ever going to bother you. Alfred White's son, they all did the same thing for us. Don't bother them. They're from our church. You bother them, you bother us.
That's right.
Down through generations in our church. I walk into my church now, and it's like children that were babies run up to me and say, Uncle Herbie. I'm like, who's this? Excuse me. So it's something that is natural. And it was pretty easy for me to depict it in the book. And when I say pretty easy, you see someone sitting down. You said something before. You see someone sitting down typing, and it's nonstop. But it was nonstop. You gotta sleep. You gotta eat. You gotta go work, or you gotta help somebody, or whatever have you. But there are things that are around us all the time. And if you're of your surroundings, there's a lot that you can do. And none of this story is real. It's all made up in my mind.
Okay.
None of it.
Right. So now,
all right. Hold on a second now.
Okay.
All right. The people in my life where I was thinking of then, and these are things that they would do. I mean, I have a brother, I think you know what I'm talking about. But I pick the phone right now, say I need you. And jump in his car and come to me right on the spot, just like that, and vice versa.
Right.
So
wait. So this is the down the street from our old church, right?
Say that again.
This is the brother who lived down the block from where our church was before.
That's correct.
That's correct. Right. I know. Yes, yes. No question. We're not gonna shout people out. But nope. So this is a question that I have.
Okay.
This is what blew my mind. And you said you did this in 2.5 months. I was thinking, when did you sleep? Because there are at least with the exception of the parents, there are like 4 sets of couples, and then maybe there's another 1 or 2. So there's 10 characters that have these interwoven stories there were two main things. How did you continue to know who would do something, who's gonna do something? They have their own, of course, specific personality, their own tone of voice, their own types. That was one thing. The second thing is how say it.
Well, let's just answer this first one.
Go ahead.
You're getting into this, all right? You know me from church.
Right.
Well, I know a lot of people from other places. I tell you.
Correct.
So I was able to bring those characters in too. And sometimes I could be in a great mood. And I wake up, ooh. And a whole story of pain in my mind. And sometimes I can be typing a paragraph and two other chapters with what I can do with this. I can't explain it. That's the best way to explain it.
Right. So I'll make the connection. And it's most likely that many creatives are like, I'm sure people who have crafted, maybe not crafted is not, but penned, I'll say a musical score. Wait for me to say it. A musical score will just sort of be tinkering, with one melody. And then within that melody, there unfolds whole other, like almost like a track, right? And so play a melody with a piano in my head. And then as I hear one of the people in music, I both know who's still doing music, and he'll talk about how he's just tinkling with something. And then he'll hear the drum sequence.
Yes.
And then he'll hear like the trumpet, and then things. And then when I hear it all together, I'm like, how'd you do that? So I definitely would say it's a creative. Now, if anybody who's creative out there knows what I'm talking about, please drop it in the chat. If you're just popping on, I should have done this a couple of times. Talking about Pathways to Love, and the brother H. Thomas Putney right here is the author. And so I was supposed to finish it over the summer. I literally crunched it between September and October. I thought it was going to take me so much longer. Once I got into it, I literally tried to read it like before I went to bed, which again, I said, don't do that. But then I was like, I wake up in the morning like 10 minutes early, like, wait a minute, I got to finish this. So the other, I'm going to read this book. I'm telling you right now. You need two things. You need some you need some sticky notes. You need some, and then here were the markers that I had to use. You need some markers. You need some highlighters, because what's going to happen is you're going to say, wait a minute. I thought she was over there with this.
Okay, hold on. That's you, Dario. You're the type of person that goes to the movie, wants to figure it out before the movie is over, and say, what's going to happen? And everybody's
listen.
What did I say to you? Dario, stop trying to figure it out. Just read the book and enjoy it. That's not you.
Okay? That's not me. Right. We all
let them enjoy the book. Everybody has their own way.
But didn't I call you, and I was calling him sending a message like late in the evening, and I was like, wait, who is this person? So what's gonna happen? Because I'm not giving you any spoilers. What's gonna happen is you're gonna see some names pop up, and you're gonna. Why does that kind of ring a bell? It doesn't matter what you live in. I'm giving you a hint, okay? You're going to get towards the end of the story. You're going to do one of these numbers. So you're going to get like towards the end of the story, and then you're going to say, wait a minute. And then you're going to flip back like, I'm sorry, this many pages, and you're going to, oh, see, I did it. See? I had to do that. Wait, I had to do that. You're going to see things and you're going to say, hold on. He's been mentioning this person all the time. I didn't know it was. That's why I say you need some sticky notes.
Let's straighten that out for you right now. Characters in the book. The main characters in the book. You're never going to figure out because they're all personality. They're all intertwined. You're never going to be able to figure that out because I know people. But
no, that's not what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. You know what I'm talking about, and we don't want to do that. Let it be a surprise for everyone. Because when they get it, they're going like, "Oh my god!
Oh my god!"
Right. So
people that are the characters that I did describe like that, they're people that I kind of like look up to in real life. So I just kind of a little bit in the names and everything like that. I'm not going to give you any hint. You figured it out. You're that one that wants to know the ending before the movie is over.
So there is no real end to this text because this is only
Absolutely. This is the first book of a trilogy.
Wait, there's more.
There's more.
I'm really interested. Like, okay, give me the next one. Give me the next one.
The next one is called Grand Rapid Falls. And you can expect it to be published somewhere in the early spring of next year.
I gotta wait 5 minutes.
Sorry.
Fine.
I mean, if you'd like,
I'm gonna hold these.
You hold them. You're gonna get tired of doing that. Because what's gonna happen?
I have to keep track.
You're going to start enjoying it, and you're just gonna relax. You're just gonna accept it. If you do, the whole thing is not to figure out who these characters are, but to get into what they do, how they change, how they go about it. The next book will describe a little bit more just how they do things. Okay, and then there's a third book, which is almost done also.
So all of this work, because you're talking about taking the gifts and the skills and the talent of people in order to change a community. You're writing this book and the series, excuse me, in order to help who?
One of the things that I'd like to do. I was visiting my daughter. And they had a program. A group of people, a large group of people did not show up, and they had to So they said, "Let's take it to 10 cities." What's 10 cities? They said, "You'll see." So we got all this food, we put it in the car, and we went to this place underneath the highway. They called 10 cities. And there was a group of Army veterans that had no place to live. They were living in tents on the ground, some of them with their families, some of them by themselves. And it's not that these guys are lazy, but the women seem to have turned their back on them. I went to Vietnam myself. I served. I'm not rich in any kind of way except for the blessings that God has given me. But when I saw what I saw, as a grown man, I stood there and I cried and I looked up and I said, Lord, when this endeavor of yours that you've given me becomes successful, a portion of the monies that are raised are displaced veterans. Because there's no excuse for this government to turn their back. Some of them have lost their home, their families. They put their very lives on the line. So it's very near and dear to me. And people that I know, that I love, that I grew up with, that didn't come back. I was blessed. Yeah. And I came back. So this is something that I can do to help those guys and those ladies. And you have to understand. One person that I think you know the brother that's in our church that's involved with something like this.
Yes.
Try to get him on your show because he can delve into what he is doing and what things that happen to these guys and why they happen. And it's a big deal. There's so many things. I'm talking about just displaced veterans. But there are mental issues. There are so many issues. It's not that they're lazy. It's like when you're in the military, you have to stand online for
Stand
everything.
online for everything.
To go to bed, to go
Go
to
to
the
bed,
bathroom,
go to the bathroom,
and you have this
and
all
you
this
have this
documentation. And
patient,
when you
and
feel like
when
you've
you
done
feel
what
like
you're
you've
supposed to
done
do
what
for the
you're
country,
supposed to do
and
for
they
the country,
want to make you do
want to
that,
make you do that,
it should be something
it
that
should be
here.
something.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your
Really, thank you
service.
for your
Really,
service.
thank you for your service.
Right,
So
right.
I'd like to do this. So that's one of
Do
the
this.
things that
That's
I'd like
one
to
of the
do.
things I'd like to do.
There are many others,
There are
but
many others, but we
that's
won't.
the main one right now.
Main one right now.
So let us take this moment to actually have, and I'm this because the Spirit has led me to say this, to actually have a moment of silence for all of the men and the women, young people just turning 18, the people who have just 21, the people who have went from 39 to 40, the people who went 40 to 45, 50, 60, who have served one tour, who did two tours, who toured in World War, toured in Vietnam, who toured and was stationed in Afghanistan, stationed in Kuwait. I can't even name all the places. Who was stationed actually somewhere in friendly territory and did not come back the same, whether it be physically or emotionally or mentally.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
really would love just a moment silence. And if there's anybody who's watching this, whether it be on live or on the replay, to drop someone's name of someone who has served, someone who may not have returned, someone who returned, someone who's returned and served and tries to continue to serve. Drop that name at this time. We are so very blessed and
Thank you.
honored.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to
I just want
for
to
a second. That meant a lot to me just now.
a lot to me just
A lot to some of the
a
other
lot to
brothers
some
that
of the
I
other
know that
know
are possibly
that are
watching this,
possibly watching this.
because they deserve better than what they're getting.
Better than what they're getting right now.
Hmm.
All right, and
And
Lord willing,
this
he dropped into my spirit, so I know it's going to happen.
I know it's going to happen.
And I am so grateful to you because you jumped right on the fence. Heard us do that. I'm not into really social media that much. I see so much on social media that I feel is negative, and I said, rather than try to respond to that, let me write something positive that somebody can read and say, let me try to do that in my home. Let me try to do that on my block. And I got a couple of guys walking down the block with their pants down. Come here, young brothers. Let me tell you what that really means. So it's just little things. You might not change the whole world, but just one. Just one. That's all it takes.
You definitely have done that with this beautiful narrative love story, and not just love, but phileo love for community, love for the right thing, love for a family. Like, there's so many generations that are spoken, that are pulled from. There are family traditions spoken of in this book. It literally was a I'll say pure, in a very genuine and authentic sense of the word, sense of that exists in this text. And so if you have not picked up the text, please go to and tell us the website.
htputney.com.
htputney.com. htputney.com. htputney.com. And pick up love. If you are getting it for yourself, that is great. Of course, it'll be wonderful, sort of a special day or a special season. If you even pick it up, who serves or has served, you're reinvesting back into the lives of those who have literally and figuratively in their physical, emotional, spiritual, mental lives to serving this country. And so please support Brother Putney, support and share the message of Pathways to Love. It is, I'll say it's a story for all ages. I'll say it's a story for probably people who are above the age of 30. Because there are just some themes that at the age of 30, you might be like,
Well,
what?
I got to say something to you here, my surprise, down here in Richmond, I was able to speak to some young people, and their feelings were the same. And they wanted the book. I got them the book. By the way, if you do go to my site to pick up my book at hpputney.com, you get an autographed copy of the book. And the funds that are raised from my site are the funds that will go to displaced veterans.
Excellent. I got my signature. I got my autograph copy. So thank you so much, bro. So much. Again, htputney.com. Please, Ways to Love. Again, it is a beautifully written text. There will be lots of aha moments towards the end. And I'm just going to drop this other little gem. You're going to be reading things that they're doing for the community. This group of people is doing for the community. And then the back of your head, you're going to be thinking, what do these people do for a living? Generate the money to do these things to make the impact.
Read the next book.
Right. So that's why I'm like, I gotta wait another 5 months. Read the text because I want to know how did they get this dough.
It's in this book too, but because you're trying to figure it out, you missed it. Read it again. Is that what you tell your students? Read it again.
Actually, I say stop and jot. I say use markers, things that pop. You're like, wait a minute, I have a question, or let me make a connection, or let me connect to another. That's what teachers do. We try to connect the dots. I was connecting. Anyway, peace and blessings. This is a Learn to Grow You moment where I plant seeds to help you grow. Look forward to seeing you all the next time around for season 2 episode. You never know who's going to be on the couch unless you subscribe, stay connected. Even if you have people that you would like to be in this spot right here in order to how they influence, impact, and interact with their community to make just a little bit better than people lived it yesterday, then just slide in and hit me up and let me know. Duriel, have you talked to this person yet? Duriel, you really should. Duriel, I think they would be a great addition to your lineup. So I love you. Peace and blessings. Have a good evening.